Welcome to the GLAC studio. This is Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 8 of Dhairya Lakshmi painting, and this is one of the 8 forms of Lakshmi avatars that is known or celebrated for all the positive propensities of life. Dhairya Lakshmi, Dhairya refers to courage, valor. Let's hit the road on courage and valor with layer 4. Just before that, let's quickly go over what we have done so far. So we started with a blank canvas, and we did a wash or a layer 1, and then we moved on to planning on the painting, executing the plan on the canvas, and then that execution had to be refined with a layer 2 with help of some colors. So we got to understand where things are going to go approximately and such, and then we moved on to giving a little bit of dark versus light, yeah, in layer 3. Layer 4 is a lot of detailing, and you see that there is depth coming in, yeah, a lot of depth coming in and a lot of detailing going on. When we did, layers 1, 2 and 3, it looked like, a couple of classes we were almost there, and this time it looks like, we are going on and doing a lot of things, refining a lot of things. And this particular case, it's a lot of work that is being done. And when we ended the class, I also mentioned in the last class that we will have some corrections. At least in my case, I can see that my proportion isn't I wouldn't say right. I feel that we have used too much of the canvas, and that I want to speak a little bit about. Yeah. So I tend to see that the maximum usage of the canvas is like 80%, and then there is this 20% of negative space. Yeah, somehow. So it is a good balance, then it looks like it is fitting that. Somehow this particular picture, maybe I wanted to show too much of courage. So I took a lot of the space, and I want to at least the circle, if we can bring it down a bit. And also the lotus flower, we adjusted the lotus flower in the last class to make it slightly, go down one step, and change the shape of it also in the last class. So these were the things that we did in the last session as well. So there are some corrections also where I noticed some mistakes, and we corrected that as well. And like I mentioned, it's work in progress. All the time we are learning. And yeah, I think it is better that we are able to see the errors while we are in the process, and learning from it. And I do not mind recording everything, because I still feel that I am also a student. I'm very much a student of life, and I learn from all these errors. So whatever I have captured, it's also something I look at it. Okay, so this proportion error, the focus was on this proportion overall, on what to get in the elements in close to the Dhairya Lakshmi, but I missed that focus on big picture, that it is taking a little too much of that space overall. So that's a learning. And I do have few more things to start with, corrections before we touch into today's layer 4. Today's layer 4 is going to focus on the jewellery, but before we touch into that element, I noticed there are a few things that we could have fixed, or we could have worked a little bit more on before we would have ended the class. So let's fix those corrections, small little ones, but they do matter. Okay, let's fix that, and then we will get on to the work. One thing that I wanted to show you was that when we are doing the fingers, most of the fingers are holding something, so they are folded. But these two, the hand that is showing like blessing us, and then the hand that is opening up to us like this, the palm that is opening up, there should be these small little lines, nuances that we have missed, at least I have missed. So I wanted to do that in the hands, and then we can do few changes to, not changes, but then just highlights to the flowers as well, the lotus flower as well, and then we can move on to jewelry. Okay, so I have moved it slightly up so the focus is on this area. Let me take micro brush or a zero brush. All right, so I'm going to take the darkest of the skin tones that we used to do the contours. That was burnt umber with ivory black, isn't it? So let's do that. So I've got it ready, and I'm going to use the small little strokes to suggest the divisions in the finger. We will have, well, like I said, there is one more level of detailing that we will go to any which ways. We could also do this along the line when we do layer 5, but I really prefer that we are done with this alongside, so we're able to see if there is any need to correct, then we can correct or not. Yeah, so small little tiny lines that I want to show in the palm and such. I think it looks fine now. Yeah, so now about the flower, see what is happening here with the flower is that there is crimson, there is her vermilion clothing, so it's all binding in itself, and it is not helping highlight the colors properly. And that's also because I made a mistake of the lightness of the tips of the petal can be built in a little more. I think I could have done it in the last session. I feel I could have done it, so I'm just going to do that. I'm taking a brush number 0 and taking in a little bit of titanium white, and I'm just going to work on those small petals that are behind to lighten them up a bit and see how that goes, and blend that in. And also this tip of this the petals that can be worked upon again. And this petal has to show like it's folding. Yeah, so these petals in the front can be lightened up, so it kind of differentiates itself from the clothing that she is wearing, because both are really neighboring colors. You see the point? So do you see that it's slightly, and I've put the camera in a way that you can see only this focused, and you see that change there. And I'm adding a little bit of white here as well to again accentuate that section, to differentiate it from her clothing. So there you go. So it's kind of fixed right now. I think it is slightly better. When we work on the 5th layer, we will refine. We sort of, in 5th layer, you see that we will continue to build on what is here. It's not that you're going to build something totally new, unless you want to change something fully. So we are going to build on this and add a thin layer of flimsy layer in all the sections to kind of saturate and highlight more wherever needed and such. That's exactly what we are going to do there. I think this is kind of fine now, yeah. And let me add a bit more of white also in the yeah. I guess this is fine now. Huh? So this is adjusted. Let's now focus on today's work. Ultimately, we are coming to that. I'm going to adjust the camera a bit. Yeah. So today's focus is on the jewelry. So what we have done so far is to provide some spaces for jewelry, and I did a standard thing of putting in space using yellow ochre and a little bit of primary yellow, maybe titanium white added, and I put space for a crown, space for bangles, and I thought, okay, couple of necklaces and a belt, a typical spacing that I would give for any Indian painting, I guess. But of course, the logic was to use use the space to do whatever I want to do. Also, to use the space to show nationality as well. And I looked up references from the African jewelry because I don't know which exact country she is from. Let's take the continent altogether, and I try to find some interesting pieces of work which you can see in the references. The file is called jewelry references, and unlike other files, reference files where you saw particular references of Dhairya Lakshmi only, in this jewelry reference you will find other country jewelry references as well, because I'm using them for the other paintings as well. So I'm showing them also here, so you can actually choose and play around with if you want. I liked the idea when I picked up the African jewelry. I liked the idea that they use this seashells as a neck piece, and it goes on to cover the body. You see that under African jewelry, I have selected one thing and it's amazing. I liked it, and I like that the pink whatever top that the lady is wearing is showing from underneath this jewelry that she is wearing. I like this idea and I wanted to keep it, and I thought because she's got a broad shoulder, and that's typically the body build of um, you know from someone from that area or topography. So I thought it would be beautiful to enhance that shoulder line and use that, so a bigger one. And then I liked the idea of showing country. So the I think when you go down in, I have got a lot of references for you to pick up. I am going to pick up one that is a very simple dollar kind of a circle that is blue colored, and it's got the African continent in it. I want that to go here, somewhere over here. And then I like that African woman shape as the earring. I don't know how to do that, but I think I can give it a try. So these are the things I'm going to experiment with, and the maybe if the earring, if the shape of that, if that is a little too much for the earring, I can use it for the crown also. Let's see. And I like the crown. Wow, the crown seemed, I think it is African royal crown. When I searched for it, I found some crowns, and I like that build. And it is not too tall. Remember, I said I also want to cut down on the space, and I made a mistake of taking a little too much up with the crown shape, so I want to adjust that also. So this small crown will be a little bit, cool for her, because we want to focus also on the hair texture and the way the hair is built, because that's very much their tradition. And I want to keep that also, because if we give a too big a crown then the focus shifts to beautiful crown and not her beautiful hair. So we'll have to have a balance, and I think this crown kind of does justice. And I honestly do not know the meaning of that star and the moon, but I would definitely say that coming from a tradition, these things are very important for my culture as well. So with all due respects, I would also believe that it represents something relating to their culture. So I like that top of the crown is having that half moon and a star on top, and I would like to just have it that way. Yeah. So, and the bangles, I think there are really nice bangles that I saw. These are these are with intricate details, but I think they are also simple in a way that we can do white bangles to just knock off the red and such, because there is a lot of color here. If we use those white shells around her neck and the white bangles, high colors that we are sitting with in this challenging painting, and we could tone it down a bit. And I was thinking, because it's that shells, maybe I'll make the shells like this, going around, and then I will use that shell itself, small little seashells, as the border of her eh, yeah, shirt top. This is what I've got in mind. I think I've got too much in my mind going on. We are going to kickstart that right away. Yes, too much of talking. Let's get started. Yeah. So we know that this is, at least in my case, I can tell this is all wet. So this is going to mix up. The moment I add white, it's going to mix up. I am aware of it. So I'm going to try as much as I can, and then of course we can work on the details of the jewelry in the next layer. So we are going to build the jewelry now, and maybe it will not have a three-dimensional impact, but we will just build the spacing using titanium white as a base. So I'm going to start with something easier to work with, that is going to be the spacing of her bangles. I'm starting with the spacing of her bangles. Okay, that is white. So that's easier for me to at least kickstart with. And let me tell you, I have done my research to a certain extent, and picked up these interesting pieces, because there's thousands of jewelry patterns and historical jewelry patterns that I could find that are so interesting, but I had to settle down somewhere. So I picked up some of them, and I left a little more than what I would use in the reference, so that you can choose a little more, maybe better than me. Choose something better than what I have chosen, if you feel like. And if you think whatever references I have, maybe you know better, because you have a connect to that culture somehow, and something else you want to pick up, please do that. Yeah, do that. And also we'll have to keep a balance, that do not get overboard with respect to jewelry. Do not go overboard to picking up some jewelry that is too much attracting interest, and the focus goes away from her face. Whatever we are doing, the central character and the theme is that she is representing courage and valor. Let's keep that balance and do a jewelry um, that is only complementing her gesture, that she is a representative of courage and valor. So just be sure of that. So whatever I have chosen, you see the picture, and ultimately you will see that I'm only downsizing it to put it for a small little girl, that is that can carry that. So I don't do the exact copy of the jewelry here. Specifically given that those jewelries that I've selected mostly are jewelry for women, I guess. And this is a girl. Yeah, we'll have to also downsize it and make it appealing for the eyes and believable for our eyes, that it's a little girl that is wearing that, don't adorn her too much, that the focus goes away from all the effort that we have made so far. So I have given the spacing for the bangles. Right, so the spacing for the bangles are done, and now the focus can shift to the shells that I want to draw. Again, I'm taking a tiny bit of titanium white, and I'm going to move this slightly down so the focus, I'm able to reach my canvas. Is this good? Yeah. So I'm going to do those small little shells around her neck. So starting with this direction, the shells, I'm just thinking of them as this shape. So it's going to look like I've made oval shapes right now, because I'm only providing space and I am not working on the details. So I have provided space here in this manner. Okay. So there you go, the first layer, the first circle is getting done. And I wanted it to go around her neck in a way that it should, I think I've also seen in many pictures and images that the way they are wearing it, it goes, around the neck in a way that it also enhances their neck. It shows what they are wearing, very strongly. Not that I know what they are wearing, I don't know the name of it, so I'm just doing it like this. So there is another layer of shell, and it is turning pink because my canvas is still having it is wet. My canvas is wet because of the previous lesson. But I don't worry about it. I'm just going to do the shaping, and when it dries, we can work on the details. Oh wow. I think this is enhancing already what, let me look at the camera view also. Yes, it is. It is enhancing already what. So it's complementing her, and somehow, I like, it's my personal favorite, shells and pearls are in a way, they are related to sea, and they have a way of silently adding on to the beauty without attracting too much of attention to them. So adding on to the beauty of whoever is adorning it. I feel that way. I don't know if you also feel the same way about that jewelry. And now we begin to build small shells around 1, 2. So and I don't know how how to connect them. How are they connected? I think they are connected with beads. It's like a network of beads. Yes. So that one was, I think I want to go over and give it another layer so that it covers her chest nicely in a netted way. Okay. Lighter here, I feel that it is doing justice to her look. I want her to look like a princess, yeah? Of courage. I want her to look powerful yet serene. And now, how is the network happening? Okay. So it's connected like this. Like this. I'm not worried about what I did previously and whether it is showing or not. I'm just not worried. Yeah? Everything will fall in place. So just take it one step at a time and you will feel that everything is falling in place. Yes. And that's how I want to connect this also. Alright, let's connect it again here. Yes. I think it looks cool. Do we go overboard and do one more? So I want it to drop down like this. Yeah. Just one more. Dropping down like that. Because the woman is wearing a really long one, and I don't think I would need that much for this child. Huh? I want it drooping down somehow to give the feel that it is just falling down her shoulder line. Cool. And then we connect this as well nicely. Oh yeah. Very good. And I think I like this. This is exactly why I wanted to do very less in her clothing, because I just wanted it to be a monotone. I knew that their jewelry itself will be awesome, whatever it is. Even before researching, I had a feeling that when we do the jewelry, when I research the jewelry, their jewelry will definitely be dominating in some way. So let's have one plain clothing so it fits into the bill. Yeah? So when we do the next layer, layer 5, we will have a bit more work because we'll have to do shadows. Remember, shadow of the jewelry on the clothing. So we'll also have to do a tiny bit of shadows. This is going to be a bit of work, but I think we can achieve it together. So that's the spacing for her jewelry. And now let us do Africa, the dollar symbol. Where did I see that? Yes. So the shape of Africa, I just want to do in white. African continent. And I want to check how the angle is. Yes. And I'll have to move this slightly out so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm building the African continent spacing here. So it's a bigger C and then it goes down slightly and turns into like this. So that's Africa, and we can use another color to show the borders of it. I'm just going to use yellow ochre to do the background of it. So it could be a gold ornament that she is wearing. So when it dries, I think we can use gold or anything else. And this thin line, let it be, because yeah, in the next layer we can show it as a thin string or something that is not too much overpowering, but it is there, and that is showing the dollar symbol that she is wearing. So that's about her chains, necklaces. The belt, there's no belt as such, but I like the idea of the shells. I want to use shells also as her belt. So I'm going to take the liberty of doing that shell one more time, and this time I want slightly bigger shells, so I'm just going to make those shapes like the conch that she's holding. So I think it's going to really complement kind of what she is carrying also. Look at it, really, when we are working on this diversity, I feel that I'm connecting to every tradition, and I feel I see my tradition there. And I think, we are all we have evolved from the same genealogy in a way. Maybe we would have adjusted, adapted our ideals and principles and traditions a little closer to where we live, but a lot of things are similar. I don't know how you feel about it. Share your thoughts in the comments. Anything is welcome. I find this interesting and exciting. That's why I find this project and projects like these that I work on very, very interesting and giving. It is challenging because most of the time I am learning what I'm doing. I am still in the process of learning. So I'm leaving it like this. Detailing of the shell, I think, yeah, let's do it later. I wanted a little bit of those shells going on her blouse as well. So the shells are coming out of the clothing, so I want to show that as well. It's really on top. It's the material, you know, is another material, and I want to show that as well. Yeah. So I think we have managed all that. Yeah, she looks really interesting now. Very, very cool. Now for her earrings and the crown. Let's go for the crown and come back down to the earring. The crown. Okay, I like the crown. Moving this a tad bit lower. So I'm just checking where we are. So the crown, we are going to use the crown like this, and it's going to be gold. So that's how it is, isn't it? And it shows, I don't know what that is. I'm going to use white to draw, because right now if I use the same yellow ochre on this, it will be hard for me to also demonstrate what I'm doing. So I'm going to use white and do that, and then we can do the coloring later. So I'm just looking at the way it is built, and I think I'm going to need a bit more of this space like this. Okay, and then it comes out to a shape like this. Okay, shape goes slightly bigger, so I'm just doing this. And that's exactly where there is the shape like a heart, and it's a tiny symbol of cross, I think. Yeah. And then there are dooms going across, and I assume that this is also a tiny symbol of cross there. A doom here, and a slanted cross there. So that's the main, and then there is this one going like this, and that joins up like this. I'm just drawing things. And then here comes the half moon and the star. Now we'll have to work a little bit more on this. Yes. Okay, I think that's where it stops. So the rest of the portions can be knocked off. So I'm leaving the space as though what we did in our layer 3. So this is our, technically for jewelry, this is our layer 3. We are filling on things, and we haven't finalized on things. Yeah, so leave it like that. And we'll be able to see how things are, because we are going to work on the background and correct the background a little bit now. So when it sits, and when we come to the layer 5, we'll be able to judge a little more, and come to a conclusion on what we want to do. Yeah, can use a little bit of okay, I think it takes care of the crown. I think it's befitting. It is not. It is not too much on her, and she looks. She glows. The focus will still be on her face. I believe. It's belief. The earring. Okay, that is a challenge because I don't know how to do that. Or can we do the shell as a earring itself to make it simple, or I don't know. This will be a little too much, I think. So let's make the shell. So she is wearing a lot of shells and beads. Wow. So that's how she is looking. Let's work on her. Oh my God. I love her. I don't know about you, but I love her now a lot. She's endearing. Okay, so let's work on the background and correct it. So this color, it's been a while. What did I do? I think I would have mixed ultramarine blue a little bit into crimson to create this color. So I'm gonna take that in another brush, and also I would need a small brush to work with on those tiny sections. So was it crimson or vermilion? I'm gonna mix a little bit to see, because I don't want to waste colors here. Let's see how we are doing with the time. Not bad. So I'm gonna take a bit of this blue, ultramarine blue. Take another brush maybe. I have brush number 5 round, ultramarine blue and crimson mixed. So that color is the topmost of the color. Now I need to lighten this with the help of titanium white. So I added a tiny bit of crimson also to check if that is the color. Looks like it is coming closer to that. Yeah, it is. Let's see. Yeah, it's one step lighter than what we have here, but I think this is good enough to work with. So I'm going to take this, and First of all, I want to do one thing is to plan on the circle. I don't want the circle to be so big the way it is right now, so I'm just going to make it go one step down. I want the star to be visible strongly, so this goes one step down like this. Yeah. And okay, so I'm gonna. So right now you're not able to see the difference because it's really light on light, but very soon when I'm finished, you'll be able to see a bit more of that. Also this one. So that's the color. Okay, so I'm going to use the darker color to show you where the lines cross off, but I will mix in a short while. I'll mix that also uh, to change that background, not to change the background but bring it closer to that. So that's exactly where it's gonna go. That's how we cut the C off and make it slightly one size down, so it will make sense, I guess, hopefully. Yeah. So that's the plan. So with that, I'm going to start focusing on this color. So I'm taking a smaller brush. It's brush 0. Mixing this color nicely, getting it ready for the space inside. But before I go on to work on the edges, I want to work on the contours and make it look perfect. And this time, we have done a lot of detailing, so I have to be extra careful. Not to spoil anything. And such. So also the section where we adjusted, there were a lot of corrections going on in the bow. Yeah, that we could fix. So all these sections I'm just going over one more time nicely. If you haven't done these mistakes like me, and if you have completed this in a right proportion, you are actually ready to move on to the next lesson. So I would say, yeah, you can move on. So let's meet up in the next session for the layer 5. But of course, before you go, I would mention that you give a break to the canvas so that you are able to judge for yourself the kind of adjustments, changes you want to make, and you are able to come back with a fresh mind for layer 5. Yeah. And in case you are also correcting some errors like me, then of course we make a good team. Let's sit together and fix this. So you're actually not seeing much in the camera because it's almost the same color that I am repainting. Minor change in the color. I think it's almost the same that I have created. So I'm just very nicely trying to go inside those sections where her face is. And yeah, give me a moment, let me do something. In this section, I think it is helpful to go back to a micro brush or a 000 brush also, because in some places it's really hard to enter. So the micro brush or the 000 brush to enter the spaces in between the hair strands and fill that out carefully. So and should not show that we have adjusted things too much, otherwise we'll have to repaint the hair also. But in layer 5 we will do more enhancements as well, but still let's try to achieve as much as possible in this, to achieve the balance. Okay, I guess I managed the adjustments here on this side. Cool. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. Let me pull this up a little bit so you see a bit more of what's going on here. Yeah, the angle is in a way that you're able to see the brush strokes properly. Okay. I hope you are enjoying this process of creating a cultural combination of images like this. Um, so we are not only working on an art piece, learning art, we are taking our art to the level of engaging with audience, engaging with people in a way, in a positive way, to show, demonstrate unity, to share, the message of power in diversity, um, and to show how similar we are in spite of the fact that we could be coming from completely different backgrounds and could be having very different you know history, language and such. There is so much similar about us. There's a lot that connects us as human beings. And more so, we are celebrating girl power. Okay, this section is almost complete, and then will be off contour, areas to work with. That will be sections of the circle outside. Nearly there. Mess up with colors, we adjust it here. Nearly there, nearly there. And then we move on to the other color as well. Right in between the sword and the arrow. Every minor detail we go over. Make sure that it is looking fine. Okay, cool. I guess the inner circle looks good now. Fair enough? Yeah. So let's fix the outer circle, then the spacing comes down. And for the outer circle, the color has to be adjusted. I've got to this color. I want to see how to bring into this purple. Let's add a bit more of no, I think we had could have taken sky blue as well. I don't know, sometimes I do that as well. So primary blue. That's my last option. I know that I rely on ultramarine, primary blue. A lot. Let me see if that works. Adding that with crimson. Interesting range of darker purple coming up. Yeah, close to this, but not exactly. That is the risk we will have to rework. So I'm just checking. Oh yeah, I survived. Lucky girl. So see, this is the risk that we have when we when we have to, rework on their backgrounds. But it is, it comes with practice. If I had done less of mistakes, less of changes, then I would have, moved on to the next step easily. But of course, I had some corrections to do, and it needed some change in the positioning, and thereby we are redoing the background. But the benefit is, if the color is the same, then we don't need to work on the sides of the canvas. You see, I think this is could add a bit more crimson to pep it up. Yeah. So this one is good enough to adjust and rework. I want to do the rework only on the sections that needs to be adjusted first. Then we can so I'm just taking away these sections that aren't needed anymore from the crown. Yeah, you see the top of it now that I'm adjusting. And then I will roll the brush on the sides. To get this section going. I want to smoothen this out. I need a fresh brush, I can see, to smoothen it out. I'm just looking for something that is fresh. A flat brush possibly could help. I have a flat brush, number 4, I think. So I'm just going to go around like this to smoothen it out on this section. And I'm doing the other section as well. And then we'll come to the bottom of it where the flowers are. the lotus flower is, because that's exactly where we also need to correct. And remember that we lightened up the space in between where the colors are blending. Yeah? So I want to do that as well. So nearly finished with the top two sides, corners. And now the focus can be on the flower, the lotus flower area, because that's also a place where I had adjusted. All right. Done. Moving on to the bottom. I'm going to move the camera a bit here. So I am, remember that I had done some adjustments here as well, so meaning we'll have to hide the shapes of the flower from the previous work. So that white line that I did is helping, because it's really hard to remember where we wanted to stop, what we want to correct and such. So the moment I do corrections, that's my approach, that I tend to draw a lighter colored contour, sort of marking it clearly for me to follow through. Yeah, next time. Yes. So we're nearly there, nearly there. Yeah, I guess I am done with my layer 4 now. So I'm just gonna bring it down a little bit to show you how things are. Move it away so that you get a big picture now of how things are. And I must say that now the size looks slightly, like it fits into the canvas, and she's not too big. She was looking too big because of too many wrong choices with that, shapes outside, not because of what we did with her per se. So now we have just justified her size fitting to this canvas. Yeah, and I think it was also a very interesting learning experience. Last but not the least, I like to do one more thing with my pictures. that when I do my layer 4, I also plan on my signature where it has to go. And I usually do a thumb impression, so I'm taking a very darker color tonality that's a mixture of blue and blue and crimson, I guess. And I'm going to fill that in my thumb, so it's really on the darker side. And since that space is wet, so my signature goes, this is something I do, my signature goes in the left bottom corner, and it goes in 2 layers. Even my signature is a couple of layers. So the first layer will be my left hand thumb impression that goes here, and when this dry, the second layer will be my name, going the G, letter G of my first name going there. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for putting up with me and learning how I correct alongside, and I think it was an exciting session with the jewelry. I hope you also enjoyed that part. Let's meet up in the next session when the canvas is dry enough and you have more ideas to work with. We'll have a lot of exciting stuff to do. Layer 5 is also going to be the finalizing layer before we are, yes, finishing this painting, succeeding with the woman of success. Fantastic. Let's meet up in the next session. Until such time, stay motivated, stay blessed, stay happy, stay healthy. Let's meet up. Bye bye.